everyone, this is Samantha from Scrapmaster's Paradise. I'm here today for a Learning Copics with MarkerPOP video. Today we're talking about basic two-color blending. This is a very basic technique, and if you already know how to do this technique, great, and if you don't, be sure to practice this a bunch because you're going to need this technique when you're doing any Copic coloring. So for today's project, I'm going to be using these elephants from the Love You Tons stamp set, and I'm going to use the coordinating dies. I'm going to go ahead and stamp these in Memento Tuxedo Black, and then we'll start our tutorial. I'm using some pretty bright pattern paper for the project that I'm doing, so I'm going to make one of my elephants aqua using BG05 and BG02, and then I'm going to make the other one yellow, and I'm using Y13 and Y15. And when you're picking colors for this two-color technique, you're going to want a light and a dark. Look at your Copic color chart and pick a color that has the same letters and the same first number. So for instance, BG32 and BG34, they both start with BG and 3, and then they're just different on their last digit. So that's what I did with my colors. I've got two that start with Y and 1, and then two that start with BG and 0. So that way my colors I know will easily blend together. You can use that same kind of rule of thumb for most colors, except some of the weird colors in the E family, they don't quite line up like that. But if you color in your color chart, you'll be able to see most of them do line up. First, I'm just going to color up my little blue elephant. I chose to do this one blue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down my lightest color, add in my darkest color where I want shading, and then blend it out with my lightest color again. I'm going to do my darker shading around the edges. So I'm just going to lay down my BG02 all over the whole image and try to get it sort of even. It's okay if it's a little bit streaky. I'm going in sort of rounded circles, being careful around the edges because I am the queen of going outside the lines. I just always manage to go outside the lines a lot. Just going in small circles, getting the whole thing blended. That way everything looks pretty uniform. Alright, and while this is still saturated and wet, I'm going to go in with my BG05, which is my darker color, and add little circles around the edges to give it some shading. And I want the the back legs to be darker too. Shading maybe on the little part of his belly, on the bottom part of his trunk, and then under his little ear. So that's where I added my shading. Now I'm going to go back in with my BG02, which is my lighter color, and do small circles around that harsh line. I'm just going to blend out those lines where the two colors meet up. That way we'll have a gradient rather than a really harsh line. I'm just doing small circles, and I'm going kind of light so I don't oversaturate and make that look funky. So you can go back over it as many times as you want. That's the beauty of alcohol markers. They're not going to pill up your paper or anything. I'm just going to add a little bit more darkness to some of these other areas. And then blend it out with my lighter color. Again, small circles. And that's it. So there is my two-color blending. You can get a pretty good gradient just with two colors. And I'm going to go ahead and do the yellow one just the same way. I'm starting with my Y13 as my lighter color. I'm just going to color the whole thing. Alright, and then I've got my Y15 to go around the edges. And then I'm going to blend it out with my Y13. And again, you can go over it as many times as you want to get it exactly how you want it. I think once that dries, it's going to look pretty good. So there are my two little elephants with my two color blending. If you're new to Copics, practice this technique because it's going to be a foundation for all of your Copic coloring. So there's not a lot of steps involved with this two color blending, and you don't need a lot of markers to do it. You just need a light and a dark of whatever shade you're going to be coloring. So I hope you enjoyed this Learning Copics with MarkerPOP video. I will have another one for you guys in 2 weeks, and I'm going to try my best to have a Copic video every week. So on the off weeks, I'll still try to do some sort of Copic tutorial or color along video. Be sure to follow along with the MarkerPOP blog. You can subscribe to the blog and get updates. And be sure to subscribe to this channel because I'll try to put out a video in my off weeks as well. This is just the very beginning of the Learning Copics with MarkerPOP video series. We're going to start with the basics and cover all those and move on to more involved and intricate techniques. So I'm really excited for this new series and I can't wait to share more with you guys. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and the MarkerPOP blog, and I'll catch you guys next week in another video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.